but my signature says
But we're going to,
when I signed this.
let's go. Tupelo,
This is a Monday.
it's out of North Carolina. Chicken and waffles. This thing needs to shut off.
I tabled it already last week.
So somebody's gotta move to bring it back.
Yeah.
Well,
I wrote it for you to bring it back.
Well, it's under the mayor's agenda, so I assume he's moving to bring it back.
We can't. I can bring it up, I just can't.
I told you that earlier when you asked me. You don't believe
I
me?
can bring it up.
Yeah.
Last one.
At 7. Here we go.
Okay.
Oh, jeez.
Wow. Buckle in, everybody. All right, let's start the regular meeting of the Council of the City of Ottawa, Illinois, June 3rd, 2025. Roll call.
Eichelkraut.
Here.
Gainier.
Here.
Pearson. Here. Barron.
Here.
Mayor.
Here.
We have 5 present.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Moved by Commissioner Eichelkraut that the minutes of a regular meeting of the Council of the City of Ottawa, Illinois, held on Tuesday, May 20th, 2025, be approved as recorded in the permanent files of the city clerk.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Gainier, roll call.
Eichelkraut.
Aye.
Gainier.
Aye.
Pearson. Aye. Barron.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye. Is there anyone wishing to appear before the council? Come up to the podium and state your name.
My name is Melissa Sampson. I own 2 properties located near ADM's entrance on Canal Road. In regards to Sunvest Solar, we are in front of the council again tonight. I did look into the zoning laws with Mr. French in the last few months. We have been in front of 4 meetings so far and would like to look at the zoning law part. I did look at the fact that the council looks at all of the conditional use permits. I seen something that stood out to me that states that the city's use of structures benefits from surrounding communities. If it does, it usually gets approved. But it should also minimize any harm to an existing home. So this would seem like it would keep the problematic issues with the city at bay if we had a little bit bigger of a setback. So as of Friday that just passed, I spoke with the mayor. I gave him a call. And my question was, how old is the ordinance? It looks like it was just done in '23. What can we do? Is there any type of meeting we can do? I was informed by Mayor Hasty that there is nothing that we could do because he was no longer allowed to vote. And I didn't know how this was gonna go tonight with him not being able to vote, because I feel like when you guys do give a permit, we would look at all these things. So if we were higher than 150 foot, like a 350 to 500, then it would match the safety issues that I have. I do have my sources. Almost all of them are 500 to 600 foot. Mr. French did email me the day after you guys did a denial on him. You guys tabled his decision and sent it back to the Planning Commission. The very next morning, he was in my email demanding all of my Google sources, which I have from solar places such as Illinois Renewables. I gave everybody a printout. It states that to keep the safety of families and residents safe would be a recommendation of 500 foot. So I did come up with a survey of 37 counties around us. 8 of those are over 500 foot. 2 of them are 150, but this is an older survey, so Lacey County is not included. It doesn't list cities, it just lists counties. So on my listing, if we were a little bit higher than 150 and we could match the 500, I feel like we're not stopping the proposal, which is a bill. There's a bill that does not allow us in the city or the state to stop Mr. French. That was never our intention. We just want our family to be safe. So, and tonight, if we go through this, I know that Lacey County was just in Springfield in April. One of my properties is in Lacey County. I understand that you guys get jurisdiction over it, But if they're granted 500 foot from any solar property to any home, that would reflect my home, would it not, Mayor? I'm not confused on how that works. So you guys have jurisdiction over my county home at a meeting tonight. But what if Springfield gives LaSalle County their 500 foot? How would that work?
It would be moving, correct me if I'm wrong, Keith, but I believe if there's any change to the law, it would be moving forward. It wouldn't be retroactive. There'd be no way of making it retroactive.
And also, the county wouldn't have jurisdiction inside the city limits.
Well, no, the home that I have is in county.
I know, but
Right.
the plant is inside the city.
Right,
So they come under
right.
the city's jurisdiction. The
Okay.
county wouldn't have any jurisdiction over that whatsoever.
Right. I just looked at, if we were in front of the LaSalle County Board, they have already denied 3 of these solar panels in LaSalle County. They just did not want them. And I don't know if everybody read the newspaper, but last week we all did make the newspaper again. The Planning Commission approved, so we could come tonight. There is 96 comments. I will not be able to read some of them, but I will point out that if anybody wants to see them, you can, and none of them support the solar farm out of 96. So I'm hoping tonight, when you guys do make your decision, that you put yourself in our shoes and, you know, your family and who you have in your yard. If we could just be a little bit farther away. Mr. French has been asked 4 times to talk to our family, and he's changed his stipulation number 1 time. And that's it. So I feel like he could be more cooperative with us, but in his eyes, if he goes any farther to the west, it's a floodplain and a wetland, which I was told in our meeting in March that didn't exist. So we're gonna leave it up to the council tonight, and we hope that you guys make a good decision for our family.
Thank you, Melissa. Is anyone else wishing to appear before the council? Okay, then we will move on to the public hearing. Just have to state the time on that, 7:07.
You're right.
And the public hearing is in regards to the alley vacation for OBC 1 LLC. And what that's in regards to, the city had approved an agreement with that LLC back in December, that once the work was done of the parking lot, that we would then vacate the alley that sits between the Fox River Center and the parking lot from essentially what's considered the 600 lot, which would end, best way I can say it is at the Thai Cafe south to Main Street. They have completed the parking lot. Matter of fact, the garden, the plants around it went in yesterday and today. Looks really nice, and so now it's on us to hold up our end of the deal by vacating that alley so that eventually all that can be put under one property. So any comments or questions? Okay. 7:08, we can close it. 1 minute. And then on to Commissioner Eichelkraut's report.
Moved by Commissioner Eichelkraut that the biweekly salary payroll of May 23rd, 2025, in the amount of $445,894.18 be approved and warrants issued.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Pearson, roll call?
Eichelkraut.
Aye.
Gainier.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Barron.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
Moved by Commissioner Eichelkraut that the bi-monthly expense report dated June 3rd, 2025, showing expenses in the amount of $376,516.13 be approved and warrants issued.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Barron, roll call?
Eichelkraut.
Aye.
Gainier.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Barron.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
Moved by Commissioner Eichelkraut that a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of employment agreements with Frank Youngblood as Facilities Assistant and Shane Clark as Operations Manager for NCAT, which have been on file for public inspection since May 20th, 2025, be adopted.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Gainier, roll call?
Eichelkraut.
Aye.
Gainier.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Barron.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
Moved by Commissioner Eichelkraut that a resolution authorizing the execution of a transit service agreement between the City of Ottawa and Ottawa Recreation, which has been on file for public inspection since May 20th, 2025, be adopted.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Pearson, roll call?
Eichelkraut.
Aye.
Gainier.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Barron.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye. Commissioner Eichelkraut, is there anything else you would like to share?
Not at the present time, sir.
Okay, on to Commissioner Gainier's report.
We have the report of the police chief for the month of May. Squad car calls, 1,754. Arrest, 356. Sent to state institutions, 1. Sent to the county jail, 3. Sent to juvenile probation, 0. Central Dispatch handled 867 911 calls. They also handled 3,981 administrative calls. Moved by Commissioner Gainier that the report of Police Chief Michael J. Cheatham for the month of May 2025 be received and placed on file.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Barron, roll call.
Eichelkraut.
Aye.
Gainier.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Barron.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
We have the report of the fire chief for the month of May. Number of bell alarms, 2. Number of still alarms, 18. Activated alarms, 27. Number of medic calls, 315. Mutual aid, 3. Number of patients, 264. Total calls for May, 362. Total vehicle responses, 587. Total emergency overtime, 16. Structure loss was at $2,525. Contents and vehicle loss were both at 0, for a total loss of $2,525. Total our residents billed for medical services, 26. Moved by Commissioner Gainier that the report of Fire Chief Brian R. Bresner for the month of May 2025 be received and placed on file.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Pearson, roll call.
Eichelkraut.
Aye.
Gainier.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Barron.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
Oh, these got out of line, sorry. They've been moved around a couple of times. Moved by Commissioner Gainier that a resolution approving and authorizing the execution of 7 employment agreements for the police and fire management and IT personnel be received and placed on file for public inspection.
Can I get a second? Second. Commissioner Eichelkraut.
These are employment contracts for our chiefs, our captains in the PD, our deputy chief in the fire, and our 2 IT guys in the police department. They're 2-year contracts that will coincide with the ending of the expiration date of this council.
All right. Roll call.
Eichelkraut.
Aye.
Gainier.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Barron.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye. Commissioner Gainier, is there anything that you would like to add?
Not this evening.
All right. On to Commissioner Pearson's report.
Moved by Commissioner Pearson that a resolution authorizing the execution of an employment agreement for Amanda Lynch as part-time recreational director, which has been on file for public inspection since May 20th, 2025, be adopted.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Gainier, roll call.
Eichelkraut.
Aye.
Gainier.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Barron.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
Moved by Commissioner Pearson that a resolution authorizing the execution of a proposal with Marseille Sheet Metal Incorporated for the police and fire station HVAC preventative maintenance be received and placed on file for public inspection.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Barron.
They don't want him to have HVAC, apparently.
Holy cow.
They don't need no stinking air.
Ring the bell.
Roll call.
Eichelkraut.
Aye.
Gainier.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Barron.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
Moved by Commissioner Pearson that the city clerk be authorized to advertise for bids for the IVCC Ottawa Center self-deck replacement project. Bids will be received until Tuesday, June 17th, 2025 at 10 o'clock a.m.
I get a second.
Second.
Gainier. Roll call.
Eichelkraut.
Aye.
Gainier.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Barron.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye. Commissioner Pearson, is there anything that you would like to add? Okay, on to Commissioner Barron's report.
Moved by Commissioner Barron that a resolution authorizing the execution of Amendment Number 2 to the agreement for services between the City of Ottawa and Fair Graham for the new wastewater treatment plant be received and placed on file for public inspection.
Can I get a second? Second. Commissioner Eichelkraut.
Everybody's quiet tonight.
This is a engineering agreement with Fair Graham. It's a $4 million contract. It's another step in our new wastewater treatment plant.
All right, roll call.
Eichelkraut.
Aye.
Gainier.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Barron.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye. Commissioner Barron, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I'm gonna break the streak.
Perfect.
It's grass cutting season. Please turn your mowers into the yard. Don't blow your clippings out into the street. That grass ends up down in the storm sewer and may cause problems downstream. So, thank you.
Thank you. On to my report.
We have the report of the registrar for the month of May. There were 43 birth certificates issued and 35 death certificates. Certified copies were issued with fees totaling $2,139. Moved by Mayor Hasty that the report of registrar Shelley L. Rolson for the month of May 2025 be received and placed on file.
Second.
Second.
Commissioner Pearson, roll call.
Eichelkraut.
Aye.
Gainier.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Barron.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
Moved by Mayor Hasty that the report of the Parking Administration Department showing fines collected of $2,719 for the month of May 2025 be received and placed on file.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Barron, roll call.
Eichelkraut.
Aye.
Gainier.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Barron.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
We have the report of the building official for the month of May. There were 7 building permits issued with fees totaling $852. Total number of on-site building inspections, 108. There was 1 demolition permit for $250, 2 sign permits for $91, 1 feather banner permit for $25, 1 pool permit for $50, 11 fence permits for $550, 31 general contractor licenses issued for $3,100, 8 electrical licenses renewed for $1,200, 8 new electrical licenses issued for $1,200, 14 electrical permits for $2,950. Total number of on-site electrical inspections was 36. We had 18 people take our electrical exam for $2,790. Our code enforcement officer did a total of 167 inspections, and our construction coordinator did 134 inspections, for a total of permits and licenses of 102, with fees collected of $13,158. Moved by Mayor Hasty that the report of building official Matthew W. Stafford for the month of May 2025 be received and placed on file.
Second.
Second.
Commissioner Gainier, roll call.
Eichelkraut.
Aye.
Gainier.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Barron.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
Moved by Mayor Hasty that a resolution authorizing the execution of an agreement between the City of Ottawa and the Illinois Department of Natural Resources for a FEMA flood buyout for the old YMCA, which has been on file for public inspection since May 20th, 2025, be adopted.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Pearson. And just as a reminder, this is, IDNR has agreed to pay $250 towards what would be our match of that grant, of which match of that grant is being paid for with a separate contract with the YMCA. So there's actually no money out of our pocket for the demolition of that, but IDNR's $250,000 will go a long way in helping the YMCA. Roll call.
Eichelkraut.
Aye.
Gainier.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Barron.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
Moved by Mayor Hasty that a resolution authorizing the execution of a participation agreement between the City of Ottawa and Illinois Valley Pads for a rural shelter grant, which has been on file for public inspection since May 20th, 2025, be adopted.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Gainier. And this is simply our agreement with Illinois Valley Pads in regards to the administration that gave us the money when we got the grant to help facilitate the construction of their new facility. This is the agreement in order to be able to give that money to them in order for them to build what they need to build. Roll call.
Eichelkraut.
Aye.
Gainier.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Barron.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
Moved by Mayor Hasty that a resolution authorizing the execution of a grant agreement between the City of Ottawa and the Illinois Department of Economic and Commerce Opportunity for a site readiness grant for the Ottawa Industrial Park, which has been on file for public inspection since May 20th, 2025, be adopted.
Can I get a second? Commissioner Harrison.
Sorry.
Pretty self-explanatory, but again, it's always good to make sure that we can get all those lots as ready as possible. Roll call.
Eichelkraut.
Aye.
Gainier.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Barron.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.
Moved by Mayor Hasty that a resolution authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Ottawa and the Illinois Emergency Management Agency and the Office of Homeland Security for the Green Street project be received and placed on file for public inspection.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Eichelkraut. This one takes a little bit of explanation in regards to the grant that we were getting the money from for the Green Street project. That department is being closed down, but they have moved that grant to a different department within, I believe it's within the state government. And so this is starting the new grant under the new paperwork for the existing grant that we've already had for 5 or 6 years.
Have we received a check yet?
We have not.
We have not received the check yet. We're still waiting on the check.
Do we still have a drop dead date of September?
Yes. This drop dead date, unfortunately, is still September 22nd. Yeah.
I mean, it's nice that we're moving forward, okay? But it's already $637,000 back that they owe us, okay? I kind of like to see that before we get rambunctious here and spend another $2.5 million of our money when it's supposed to be theirs.
I completely agree with you. And within the next week before shovels start moving, hopefully we can ask a few more times where our money is. Roll call.
Eichelkraut?
Aye.
Gainier?
Aye.
Pearson?
Aye.
Barron?
Aye.
Mayor?
Aye.
Moved by Mayor Hasty that a resolution authorizing the execution of 7 annexation agreements between the City of Ottawa and various property owners in Fields Hill be received and placed on file for public inspection. Be it further moved, a public hearing be set for Tuesday, June 17th, 2025, at 7:00 p.m. in council chambers on these said agreements.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Barron. This is the ongoing annexation with the Fields Hill subdivision. As we bring more in, we're allowed to then get the neighbors and continue to bring them in to help them with water and sewer. So, roll call.
Eichelkraut?
Aye.
Gainier?
Aye.
Pearson?
Aye.
Barron?
Aye.
Mayor?
Aye.
Moved by Mayor Hasty that an ordinance authorizing the execution of an amended and restated development agreement between the City of Ottawa and Heritage Harbor Ottawa Resort Development LLC be received and placed on file for public inspection.
Get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Gainier. I think that Keith didn't have gray hair when this started, however many years ago. You had hair when it started, but.
22 years old.
But
Been a long time, I know that.
But it's done, it's being placed on file, and thank goodness. Roll call.
Eichelkraut?
Aye.
Gainier?
Aye.
Pearson?
Aye.
Barron?
Aye.
Mayor?
Aye.
Moved by Mayor Hasty that an ordinance authorizing the approval of the amendment to the professional services agreement between Jacob and Klein Limited and Heritage Harbor Ottawa Resort Development LLC be received and placed on file for public inspection.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Pearson. When we have a new amended and restated development agreement, we need to rehire the attorneys to make sure that we abide by it. Roll call.
Eichelkraut?
Aye.
Gainier?
Aye.
Pearson?
Aye.
Barron?
Aye.
Mayor?
Aye.
Moved by Mayor Hasty that the report of the Plan Commission meeting held on Monday, May 27th, 2025, considering the conditional use permit for a drive-through facility from Kiram Cook for Roosty's Chicken for property located at 2749 Columbus Street be received and placed on file. Be it further moved, the council concur with the recommendations of the Plan Commission and the conditional use permit for the drive-through facility be approved and the follow-up ordinance be passed and approved.
Second.
Second.
Gainier. This is at the former Dunkin' Donuts building.
One question, is that number 12 or is that 11?
12 on the agenda.
Oh, sorry, I'm out of order a little bit.
Okay.
It's been a
Yeah.
day. It's been a couple days around here for all of us.
Yes.
Just want
one,
to make
right?
sure we weren't
Yeah.
skipping over one.
We're not going
we'll
to
do
skip
the
over
next
that one.
No,
I
we're-
need that one.
We're done.
Roll call.
Eichelkraut?
Aye.
Gainier?
Aye.
Pearson?
Aye.
Barron?
Aye.
Mayor?
Aye.
Moved by Mayor Hasty that the report of the Plan Commission meeting held on Monday, May 27th, 2025, considering the conditional use permit for a pickup window facility from CDO 3005 LLC and Michael Carroll for property located at 106 West Etna Road be received and placed on file. Be it further moved, the council concur with the recommendations of the Plan Commission and the conditional use permit for a pickup window facility be approved and the follow-up ordinance be passed and approved.
Second.
Second.
Pearson. And this is for the lot that's in between Thornton's and Tapiano's. It's an empty lot now. There's going to be a commercial duplex in there. And one of those units is needing a pickup window, not a drive-through, a pickup window.
It's interesting how you made a Mexican restaurant Italian.
Sorry. What is it called?
Tapatinos.
Sabatino's.
Tapatinos.
Okay.
What'd you say?
I think it's a Tapiano. I don't know. Close enough. It's good food
It's
there.
in the
I'll
day.
preface by saying
Yeah,
I've
it
eaten
is.
there. It is good food. I'm sorry that I got the name wrong. Roll call.
Eichelkraut?
Aye.
Gainier?
Aye.
Pearson?
Aye.
Barron?
Nay.
Mayor?
Aye.
All right. Moved by Mayor Hasty that the table motion regarding the proposed conditional use permit request from Sunset Solar LLC be returned to the table.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Barron. And as was stated by Melissa earlier, since the last time that this was brought up, it came to my attention that should this go through, there would be a conflict of interest for myself. I sit on the Starved Rock Country Community Foundation Board, and I provide the insurance for them. So in needing for the liability insurance for that, I would be financially compensated, and so therefore I will be abstaining from vote.
We need to vote on bringing it back to the table.
Roll call.
Eichelkraut?
Where I was at.
That's all right.
Is there a second?
Was it we did?
I did.
Yeah, Brett
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 Barron
second.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah. Eichelkraut?
Nay.
This is
This
just
is to bring it back to the
Oh.
table.
Aye. I literally just
Gainier?
said-
Pearson?
Aye.
Barron?
Aye.
Mayor?
Aye.
All right. Now, we have this be your motion, but you're going to abstain? Is that how you want to do it?
Yes,
Okay. Moved by Mayor Hasty that the reports of the Plan Commission meetings held on Monday, March 24th, 2025, Monday, April 28th, 2025, and Monday, May 27th, 2025, considering the conditional use permit from Sunvest Solar LLC to construct a large-scale solar energy system at Canal Road and ADM's entrance, be received and placed on file. Be it further moved, the council concur with the recommendations of the Plan Commission, and the conditional use permit be granted and the follow-up ordinance be passed and approved.
And can I get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Barron? Any discussion?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to, okay, there is some excess land here, correct? As far as this is concerned,
Yes.
and you are on this committee or whatever it may be, that is talking about making it into walking paths and et cetera, correct?
That's the agreement, I would say.
Okay. Whose responsibility is it to take care of this walking, et cetera, area, okay? I'm speaking basically, I know how many people Marla has, okay, Commissioner Pearson, okay? Are we the ones gonna be out there maintaining it? We the ones gonna be maintaining the path?
No.
Or is you have a volunteer group that nobody knows about that will be doing this?
Well, it's
Because we're
not. gonna-
lacking volunteers right now.
Yeah, well, it's not gonna, it has nothing to do with the city of Ottawa.
Okay.
The land that is going to the wetlands is being donated to the Starved Rock Country Community Foundation.
I understand that.
And they're working on an agreement, or should have an agreement, in regards to, I believe it's Heritage Harbor that would be maintaining the paths and and the walkways.
I just want to make sure it was us that had to
Yes.
do the work, okay? Which we're stretched out now.
Yeah, no, the city has no involvement in that.
Also, I'll get to my vote, then I'll speak.
Can we ask about access to that? Because there is no access from Heritage. I just left Weitzel's house, there's no access to this property. Weitzel would be here, but her husband's dying on the deathbed. Judy is not happy. She owns it all the way to the river. I was at Midwest today. This has been going.
Yeah,
But-
I know. We
Yeah,
can't hear what
we-
you're saying, Melissa.
It's not being heard above that. Mr. French, if you'd like to approach and answer that question.
What she's stating is correct. There's no direct access from Heritage Harbor to the property. However, there would be access off of Canal Road in the future for that.
Are you gonna have parking there and stuff for people?
The
to
idea
park?
would be not for parking, it would be for, just for walking trails, so we haven't worked out the finite deals or the finite resolution to this, but that was the intent, was for it to be low impact, not for there to be parking or buildings or anything like that. The other idea would be that the Heritage Harbor folks would also be able to do some land stewardship there, so maintaining it, cleaning out invasive species, doing other kind of things to enhance the quality of the property itself. I mean, it's a fairly diverse area. There's lots of trees, there's a creek, there's wetlands. So it's actually a pretty interesting area, and could certainly be used for educational purposes also, and things of that nature. But that was the intent behind
But
the.
there's no access to it.
There's no direct access from
Right,
Heritage
you don't want
Harbor.
people walking down Canal Road, okay?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, there's no access to it. There's no parking, so there's no access.
I understand, yes. We have not worked out those deals yet, and how that would work.
So Mayor, have you, your committee worked out where you're gonna actually, I mean, I understand you're gonna give it to Heritage Harbor, but there really isn't no place you don't want people walking down Canal Road from Heritage Harbor to go work on this. If there's no parking, that's what it'll have to be.
Well, as he said, the details of it are still being worked out. I just knew, what I wanted to make sure was not gonna happen, Commissioner, was that, because it was just brought up at the last board meeting of the foundation, that this was the plan that was going on. And had I voted on this with knowledge of the fact that this plan was in the works and it did go through, that would have been a conflict of interest. But as far as the details right now, they still have a lot to work out. And quite frankly, it could all not happen. But if it does, that would be problematic. So that's my reasoning for that.
Did I speak to that for a minute?
You have to come up.
Yeah, as long as you come up to the podium.
So, yeah, this whole thing about a land gift to the Starved Country Community Foundation is all just conceptual at this point. There's no agreement, there's no going forward with that, there's no plan yet for parking or access or anything else. I think we as Heritage Harbor, hopefully after 16 years of kind of suffering through this, we've proven that we can take a pretty bad piece of land and turn it into something for the public good. And we think we've done that. I think we have another situation going on right now where we became involved with the ownership of Harper's Farm, which was another kind of disaster area. And through working now with the Conservation Foundation, that's being, we think, is going to be turned into a wetlands conservation area, a wetlands demonstration area. So, and again, that's in kind of like far worse condition than this particular property is. So we've watched this piece of property for a long time. You know, if it would have been developable from our standpoint, we probably would have been interested in buying it. But it's a very challenging piece of land, and I think that the Plan Commission, Doug Carroll and that entire group I've worked with now for 16 or 17 years, I think they did a very good job of listening to everyone, of considering all the facts, and I think they looked at the industrial zoning, they looked at the mulch piles that are behind this to the south, they looked at the property that was owned by ADM, which I believe now is owned by the fertilizer company, the old Ottawa Steel and Wire plant and so forth. And I think that, you know, they're feeling, and I came to the first meeting of the Plan Commission assuming I was going to be very against this program of solar panels, which is, you know, I owned farms south of Ottawa when the wind farms first came in. You think this is bad? That was a real fight, right? And so I think that the Plan Commission did its job. I think they did their due diligence. It kind of convinced me that they were on the right track and they were making the right decision. I don't have a dog in the fight. If nothing happens here, it's not going to shorten my life or be harmful in any way to our resort. But I do think it's a way to go for this land that's a troubled piece of land. I don't know if that's the right terminology to use, but it's a challenging piece of land because of wetlands and because of kind of it has had no maintenance for all these years. So I think that this puts it on a track of kind of being useful again. Useful for solar power, but also useful for building some kind of a nature preserve that people can use. As everybody knows, we built a dog park at the resort that everybody can use, and that might be the way we go with this, but we have to take a closer look, I think, and see what the best and highest use is for this property. So thanks for listening to me. Thanks.
Mr. Barron?
From what I understand, this property is zoned E industrial, correct? So there's much more intensive uses could be put into this property than what's being proposed right now, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Some of those uses, do you have the list or no, of what could go there?
I don't have a list here, but there was in our report that, from the Planning Commission, of examples of ones that could be there, which looks like Keith is pulling out right now. Off the top of my mind, I remember junkyard and paper mill that were in there.
So
Any
much more.
manufacturing facility.
Right. Much more intense than this.
Yeah.
That would be permitted and would not require conditional use.
Which would have much more traffic, much more objectionable, whatever, at all hours of the day, 365. So, as opposed to a passive solar panel farm that's gonna sit there and just make electricity when the sun shines. That's all my comment.
Any other comments?
I'll just say that I did attend all 4 of the plan commission meetings, and, excuse me, I really don't feel that, the questions that members of the audience had and some members of the plan commission had, especially as it concerns safety, were adequately answered. My opinion.
Any other comments?
My only opinion is, as Brent was saying about this being industrial, this seems like the right property for this particular solar farm. It could be much worse. The property is probably not good for about anything else. And this seems like, do I want solar farms all over Ottawa, and should we restrict them, or should we look at every area? And just like the county, yes, but this particular piece of property to me makes sense.
Any other comment?
I won't make that before I vote.
Okay, well, everyone else has made a comment, so I think we would be going to vote.
All right. Okay, we did our due diligence here. We sent it back to the planning commission, okay? They did give it a second look, which I totally asked for, okay? Over my past histories, I've never really ever, well, only a few times disagreed with the planning commission, and I think the idea that we did send it back, they did take a second look. I feel that I would have to vote in favor of it right now, because I don't feel that, and like Marla just said, there's so many things that could go there right now that would be far worse than this. I think I vote yes, or aye.
Are you calling for the roll call now?
Yeah,
Was that
well,
the
I
roll
said,
call?
I'm sorry, I should have said roll call, but
Right.
when he said he would vote before, I said, well, the time is now,
Nay.
because everyone has talked. Okay.
Nay.
Commissioner Barron.
Marlon Smith.
Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner, this is usually your job.
Aye.
Brent. Barron.
Aye.
And the mayor is abstaining.
Okay.
So the
Um,
motion carries.
So the motion carries. And I don't think I have anything else
All right.
either, so motion to adjourn.
Moved by Mayor Hasty that this regular meeting be adjourned.
I get a second.
Second.
Commissioner Eichelkraut, roll call.
Eichelkraut.
Aye.
Gainier.
Aye.
Pearson.
Aye.
Barron.
Aye.
Mayor.
Aye.